Hello, friends. It's Darren Cooper from DarrenCooperMusic.com, and you are listening to The Silent Creative, a podcast geared to help you turn down the noise so you can find your voice and create your art. Let's go. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Silent Creative Podcast. I am glad that you are here. I hope that you are glad that you are here, and we are going to get started on this episode. I'm excited. This is episode 14, and it's called Stay Inspired. Stay Inspired. But I got to say that motivation recently has been pretty low. The weather's kind of bad here. The sinus crap that I got going on is happening. There's changes that are happening in my kind of day in personal life kind of stuff that's just kind of got me all out of sorts, if you will. And so that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today, how to deal with that and stay inspired at the same time and wrestle it all through and just shine some light on it a little bit. So that's what we're going to do today. But before we dive into that, as always, I want to point you to DarrenCooperMusic.com. Got some free music there, got some other information there, some other music that you can check out. My single, Finding Oasis, that you can download is there. My album, The Beginning, you can pick that up. But really, I would like to point you to that Finding Oasis. It's an interactive single that walks you through kind of a 5-step process that you can hit each and every day to make sure that you, I guess, stay inspired, if you will. And so I hope that you can go check that out today and get that if you haven't already. And if you have, I appreciate it. So yeah, let's dive in today. And as I alluded to or said in the beginning here, have you ever found yourself in those times where you just kind of feel blah? Motivation is low. The last thing you want to do is really get up and get anything accomplished or put forth any effort in any way. I know that we all have been there, and I am really there this month as this, like I said, this sinus stuff's going on. These allergies are hitting, and just some changes in my life, and like all this stuff that's going on has just got me kind of, just not feeling it, you know? I know you've had days like that. But and for me, I'm normally a morning person. I love to get up. I love to have some time just to sit, to rest, to think, to meditate, to pray, to maybe read some stuff, to get a little bit of inspiration. And man, I realized here in the last few days that I haven't even done that and maybe that's part of the problem, but I haven't even done that recently because it's just kind of been one of those times where it just doesn't work, doesn't feel right. And don't you hate those moments, those times that it just sucks the life out of you? Those, oh man, they are the worst. I hate that. And that's where I'm at. That's where I've been the last few days, the last few weeks. And so as I've been doing that, I found myself at a concert at one of my favorite local venues this week in Indy. It's called the Hi-Fi. It is just this, just a cool club. It's just maybe 300 plus ish people that can be there, and the sound is incredible. The people that work there are amazing, and I just love this venue. And one of my right now, I guess, I don't want to say all-time favorite. I almost said all-time favorite, but right now one of my favorite artists is Andrew Bell. And he was in town, so we got a chance to go check him out. And I knew from the moment that I walked in the door that it was going to be a good night. You know, those moments where you're like, okay, this is going to be rad. From the stage setup, the lights, everything. I just knew it. I knew that it was going to be exactly what I needed. And as the first band walked out and they came and they sat down and they played, it was a duo. It was just a guy on drums and guitar sometimes, and then like just a singer-songwriter. So just a guy on his acoustic kind of singing his songs, and they were absolutely amazing. And what I loved about it is they were pretty quiet. Like you almost had to lean in to listen. Like even though they were mic'd up and everything was on, it was just like you still kind of had to lean in. Like kind of this really breathy vocal that he sang, and you could just hear it in the lyrics. There was something powerful in what he was saying, and they were locked in as the duo, right? They'd be looking at each other, and they would just be playing and kind of doing these hits together, and it was just one of those. It was like, yes, maybe not my most favorite artist, but man, it was really cool to kind of get to know them and hear their music and check somebody out for the first time. And as they left the stage, it was just like, man, that was really, really cool. And I kind of felt maybe a little inspired. And then Andrew came out. And I got to tell you, from the moment that he took the stage, and what was really cool about this tour that he's on, it was just him and one other guy. So they had some tracks running, but it was him on keys, this other guy on keys and bass, and he just came out, and it was simple lighting, but it was all synced to the music perfectly. And it was kind of dark, and it was mysterious. And his music's, if you know Andrew Bell at all, and if you don't, you should go check him out. But his music is kind of that way. The vocals are kind of airy and breathy, and just the music just kind of it sucks you in and kind of keeps you there. It's just, oh man, maybe I'm just fangirling out right now, but I loved that experience of going to be at this show and to see everything from the sound to the lights to the emotion of the room, to the people that were there. It just all worked, right? It just was one of those amazing, amazing shows. And as I left, I felt it. It was that spark of inspiration began to return. And I was ready. I was ready to create. I was ready to try. I was ready to give it another go. I was inspired. Have you ever had one of those moments where you walk away from maybe some experience that you were able to have, whether that's a show like I was at, or just a conversation that you had with a friend, or something that you did and got to experience that left you with that spark of inspiration, pure inspiration? I know that's what I needed in that moment, and I loved it. And then as I thought about that, as I walked away from the concert the other night, it just got me thinking on how important it is to stay inspired, and how often it's the first thing that kind of goes, and then I don't even realize it's gone, and I have to go back and try to find it. And often when I kind of have that feeling of blah, I need to take necessary steps to get back on track and to get to where I know I need to be. And so as I was thinking about that, I was just like, man, what inspires me? Obviously, this show was very inspiring to me, but what are some ways that I can write them down, keep them close by, so that when this feeling of just, I don't want to do anything, when that comes again, that I can step into these things of inspiration that will get me going again. And so I just want to read you just a couple things that I do, or that I found as I was thinking about this, that were helpful. And hopefully that would be an encouragement to you, that maybe you can write some of those things down and keep them close by for when that lack of inspiration hits you. But for number one, it's really go and see someone else's artistic expression. And for me, that was the concert, right? But for you, maybe it's going to an art installation. Maybe it's going and reading a good book. Maybe that's going and sitting with another creative, another person that inspires you. Maybe it's a friend, and sitting with them and just taking in their art. Maybe it could be as simple as putting on a record or watching a movie. Like those could be the things that spark that inspiration, and really just taking it in for what it is. And sometimes in engaging in someone else's art can be that spark that starts that inspiration. And so that's the number one thing for me that I got to remember, I got to keep close by and stick to. Number two is simple. It's take a walk or meditate, pray. I know often when my mind is going 1,000 miles an hour and maybe I'm sitting down, like before this podcast, I'm sitting down, I'm trying to think through what I'm going to try to consciously say. My brain is going 1,000 miles an hour. And sometimes if I just get up, walk around, take a second, maybe sit down, do some meditation, pray, ask God to help me to see, what needs to be said on this podcast. And that is a great way for me to spark some inspiration. And then the third way is to dissect others' art. And what I mean by that is so me as a musician, right, as a producer, I'm maybe working on a new song and I'm just stuck grabbing somebody else's song, throwing it into the computer and looking at the way that they did certain things, right? Where did they put that verse? Where did they put that chorus? How did they bring in that vocal line? What does that look like? And in me dissecting their art, I begin to find ways and inspiration to then inject into my own art. And so maybe it's literally dissecting a book, dissecting a movie, really looking into it. And this is different than just than number one in my head in just taking in or experiencing their art. This is really looking at it, dissecting it, taking it down to its bare bones and seeing what it is. And that's a great way that I find inspiration as well. So number one is to go see or experience somebody else's artistic expression. 2, take a walk, meditate, pray. Number 3, dissect others' art. Those are 3 ways that have been good for me to find that inspiration. And I'm actually going to give you a number 4, a little bonus one here, little bonus extra one. This is one that I have to tell myself often, and it's to create anyway, no matter how I feel. Like right before I pushed record on this, I was like, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Nope, hit record, let's go. Because I honestly believe that inspiration is found on the other side of action. Inspiration is found on the other side of action, and that's something I have to hit myself over the head with often, and just do it anyway. Get it done, get to work, get moving, because that's where inspiration is found. So let me ask, where do you find inspiration? Maybe jump on the bottom of this, if it's on Facebook or social media, and let me know what inspires you. If you're not on social media, next time you're on and see a post of mine, hit me up. Let me know what inspires you. Because I think in talking about it and sharing the ideas, we can not only help each other, but also help ourselves and step into it. So stay inspired this week. Stay inspired, whatever it takes to get there. Make sure that you do it. So let's think about ways that inspire us as the music plays. Let's do that now. Well, thank you for taking a minute to take a rest, to take a breath, to push pause for a minute, to allow yourself some time now to rest or reflect, maybe even to find some inspiration. And I hope that's an encouragement to you today. It's something I've been thinking about and processing and pondering a little bit. I know that I have to stay inspired. So whatever it takes to be there, step into it and make it happen. And if you like what you hear musically, you can get more of that at DarrenCooperMusic.com. My album, The Beginning, is there, as well as my interactive single, Finding Oasis. You can get that for free over at DarrenCooperMusic.com. So I'd love for you to check that out. But as always, I want you to remember that you are an artist. Your voice is needed in this world more than you know, and you are loved more than you could ever imagine. So turn down the noise, find your voice, and create your art. We'll see you next time.